Tempe, Arizona, where the vibes are always high, but especially tonight where we are set for a doozy of a second-round matchup. The 6th seed, the Aggies of Texas A&M, they're looking to pull off an upset against the champions out of the Big 12, the Sun Devils of Arizona State. The Aggies in black, the Sun Devils in white. A berth of the Sweet 16 is up for grabs. We're underway from Tempe as the opening point of the night goes down line. It's out of play, and A&M gets on the board first.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which team establishes a rhythm early. Both these teams known for their grip, but Arizona State has not been pushed often this year. Just one 5-set match the entire year. They won it against BYU. We'll see if it goes that far, what the Sun Devils have.
Yeah, that's a long way down the road, but certainly A&M has been more battle-tested in terms of deep matches. You can understand why playing in the SEC. Nice job by Stinson to keep that alive. Up to Underwood, and now a big-time hammer. That is an error that time for Emily Helmuth. She's a key for Texas A&M, Gavin, and you talk a lot about Letnicki, and deservingly so. But for A&M to pull this off tonight, you get the sense Emily Helmuth is going to have to be a big-time playmaker.
Yeah, and she was yesterday, particularly early on in that first set. I want to highlight that block by Savannah Colheed, though. She's been the key piece in elevating the Sun Devils' blocking game. 8 over their past 2 wins.
Just offline for Jelly Sear. She's one of the tried and true Sun Devils. If you're unfamiliar with this Arizona State program, Sear is certainly one of those players that J.J. Van Niel can trust out there on the floor. In fact, so much so, she will be on the coaching staff next year with J.J. Van Niel.
Yeah, just brings an undeniable swagger that makes Arizona State a little bit of a different team when she's off on the court than when she's off.
From the libero of the year to the center of the year, that Schroll at number 11 for ASU, and Argentina Ung, as Letnicki was offline on her first swing of the bowl game, and Arizona State gets it back to a tie.
And that was Savannah Colheed again in transition on the slide. That's something that J.J. Van Niel, when we saw Sear miss a couple matches with injury, they wanted to emphasize Colheed and her offense, get her going in transition. She's been money since.
Mary Schroll, originally from Tempe, Arizona, back on that serve line. And there's Letnicki doing what she does best. She wowed yesterday in their 4-set win over Colorado State. 23 kills in that one. This her first this evening.
Yeah, just a hammer of a left hand. You see it here on the back set. And again, it's not something the Sun Devils are used to, playing a dynamic lefty. They worked on it all week in practice. Could be a little bit of time to adjust to the real thing.
And from Marty, a little bit offline with that set that time from Ung. Again, it's Letnicki, this time handled by Rebello. They go to center for Sear. Straight up in the air, Helmuth able to handle. And Underwood will just get it across. A chance here for Arizona State as Claire Jeter attacks on that far side. And Arizona State again attacking that far side of the floor.
Claire Jeter coming off one of the best matches of her career. 10 kills, 8 blocks, 1 off a career high. 6 aces, that was a career high for Claire Jeter yesterday. So she's confident coming into this one, and also a former Aggie. She spent her freshman season there back in 2020.
A couple of former Aggies on this Arizona State roster, as there's Letnicki going back to work for her second kill. Alongside Claire Jeter, it's Bryn Covell, who also started her college career in College Station as an Aggie before finding a home in Tempe.
Yeah, full circle moment for both of them. It started there. They don't want to see it end against them.
Margot Manning back to serve for Texas A&M. She really starred on that back line in terms of services yesterday for Texas A&M in a big, long 3rd set.
Yeah, career high 4 aces yesterday for Manning.
Alive here, Ung, and on the far side, Cromartie attacking Underwood and placed that perfectly. How about Shania Cromartie, the former Mississippi State Bulldog? She can jump out of the gym, and that was a prime example.
Yeah, a borderline unique athlete for the Sun Devils. We mentioned it yesterday. She's under 150 pounds. She squats over 300. That is unfathomable for someone who hasn't been to the gym in a little while.
You got to get back there tomorrow, pal.
Yeah, you know, tomorrow's the day.
That should be your motivation, if anything. That was a big-time swing. Morgan Perkins, another one of those big names for Texas A&M, who didn't pop off on the stat sheet yesterday in their win over Colorado State, but she's capable of very big things.
Yeah, she's special. She led the SEC in hitting efficiency this year and ended that 3rd set when it looked like Colorado State was going to win it. They survived 4 set points, and she's the one who put it away.
Stinson on the back line for Texas A&M. Here's Sear with a big-time swing. It's in play, and it will be a kill for Sear. We talked about this dynamic yesterday for Colorado State in terms of taking on Texas A&M, and the same thing can be said for Jelly Sear, a native of Texas. You know she's fired up after the great career she's had at ASU, but also to take on her home state's flagship university along with UT, of course. That's out of play. Arizona State has scored 2 in a row, and they dart out in front, 6-5 in this first set.
Yeah, it's a little, I don't want to say extra special, but this is kind of the moment for Sear. Unlike her good friend and teammate Mary Schultz, decided not to go pro, decided to come back as a coach.
That's now 3 in a row for Arizona State as an ace that time. It really wasn't the best serve you'll ever see from Claire Jeter, but it's been that kind of a weekend for Jeter, as you noted earlier, Gavin. How about a career-high 6 aces yesterday, and already 1 here in this one?
Claire Jeter on the season has 20 aces. Over 20% of them came yesterday. It was just an outlier of a day, but maybe not based on her picking up the ace early. You see the big smile. She's ready for one more.
Rebels off to their biggest lead here early on in set number 1. The winner off to the Sweet 16. That's a nice response. Helmuth working that angle, and she's an excellent junior from Dallas, nearly 3 kills per set.
Yeah, Pepperdine transfer, where she was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year back in 2022. A special talent, one of the better arms you will see in this NCAA tournament.
It's Tatum Thomas, who's originally from the Phoenix area, Chandler to be exact. Hamilton High School, started her college career at GCU, and she picks up an ace. So much like yesterday, Gavin, the stars we saw for both these sides continuing on excellent performance. It's tough to say Tatum Thomas was a star, but she came through in the clutch for Texas A&M, doing exactly this right here, serving the ball for A&M.
Yeah, 2 aces in a 5-point stretch, I believe in set 2, to help them take it.
Bello that time will just tap over. There's Tatum laying out to keep it alive, and it will not matter, though, as that was off the mark from Helmuth, and Arizona State does get a point back.
And a couple of hitting errors early. We've seen the Sun Devils play a really clean game so far. They have just 1 error. That was, I believe, the 3rd for Texas A&M so far.
Arizona State loves to play fast, not only in terms of their attack offensively, but they've been accustomed to getting out to an early lead in first sets so far this year. It was the same story a year ago in the NCAA tournament when they swept their way through the first 2 rounds, including an upset win of BYU. So A&M needs to be ready to go from the get-go, and it certainly looks like they are so far. There's Helmuth yet again.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of adrenaline for Texas A&M, and it's just calibrating that right. Everything's been far, nothing's been short. They have the power, potentially, to overwhelm this Arizona State team. They're bigger, they're a little bit stronger. Arizona State, so skilled across the board.
Here's Ohm, off to Sear with a big-time swing. It's handled there nicely by Stinson. They play it off Helmuth. Ball kept alive, met nearly at the net. High up there for Stinson, and now Lednicki with another kill. Logan Lednicki up to 3 kills in this first set.
Logan Lednicki second in the SEC in kills per set, and that's kind of the story of these 2 teams. A&M obviously has balance, but Lednicki can be a one-woman army. Arizona State, it's all about that balance. 7 different players with at least 100 kills this year.
Going back to Sear, that time it will go with more of a finesse attack. Lednicki will do the same thing. It's met at net and a battle there. The Troll will reset. Sear will swing. Walk will handle. In center to Underwood, and now Lednicki is denied, out of play, and Texas A&M has a 2-point lead. A nice swing around here for Jamie Morrison's squad as the Aggies had fallen behind by 2, and they've responded nicely.
Yeah, and here's this potent. Well, I was going to say the block. It was not the block. It was deflected out of bounds on Colheed, but that's Lednicki's heat.
Marty for Arizona State as the Sun Devils try to get things going. And again, they're just going right back to the well for Lednicki, and why not? She's been the star of this regional so far and certainly has showed out in this first set. It's a 4-0 run for the Aggies.
Yeah, ASU trying to throw bodies at her, trying to build that roof. Lednicki doing a really nice job angling, getting so high she's able to go low, below the block, and deflect it off the Sun Devils' defense.
It's played off on the slide to Colheed, and that has been the bread and butter of Savannah Colheed's game. Another Texan, a senior here for Arizona State, a transfer from Indiana. She's been so deadly as the season's worn on, especially on the slide.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing for Arizona State. It's so many different sources of offense. You have to find out what's working on any given night. It's like a big diner menu, right? There's 100 things you can order. What's going to make everything click?
Meanwhile, for Texas A&M, it's more like an In-N-Out burger. You know what you're going to order when you go in there, or Canes maybe to relate to the Texas crowd a bit more. That's a big-time block right there by Shania Cromartie. Just 5'9". We've already talked about her strength, but her leaping ability as well shown off.
Yeah, she's going to be a key defensively for the Sun Devils in this one. Again, you don't think of her as Arizona State's top blocker. You think of Colheed, you think of Jeter. Athletically, physicality-wise, she might be the one with the best chance to match up with one of the best hitters in the nation, Lednicki.
So 2 straight for Arizona State after Texas A&M and had 4 in a row, and now it's a 3-0 run for the Sun Devils, and just like that, the 3 seed has worked it back to a tie.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see Arizona State kind of carrying the torch for the Big 12 at this point. Kansas is the only other team left. They have a tough match with Florida. It could just be Arizona State in the Sweet 16 if they pull this off. The SEC, meanwhile, typical dominant effort. They have 6 teams still in it, including A&M.
Solid serve that time by Sear. It's Lednicki working straight down line, and you could kind of tell Arizona State was gravitating to see if she would go cross court. Not the case there. Nice play by Lednicki.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of Lednicki's game. I talked about it last year. It was kind of hit and hope. This year, a lot more clinical, a lot more diversity. Yesterday, that cut shot was really working, like going cross court. That time, straight down the line with some power.
Back and forth we go here in set number 1. What we expect to be a highly entertaining second-round match. One of the better ones in this tournament as a whole. There's Colheed again, attacking Underwood and finding success.
Yeah, she has just been money so far. We mentioned how she was peaking late in the year. Season high 12 kills against Cincinnati in one of their last 5 matches. And it's sometimes how you can benefit from an injury. Jelly Sear goes out, she gets an opportunity. Now you have 2 great players instead of 1.
Schroll now for Arizona State, the Big 12's libero of the year. It's tapped that time by Humphrey, and that's successful. First time we've talked about Taylor Humphrey in this one, 11 kills. Double-digit kills, kind of was overshadowed a bit by the greatness, of course, of Lednicki, but she certainly can really carry her own weight as well.
Her defense was incredibly impressive against Emory Herman over and over again, having those dumps. She was the one who adjusted to it. I think that saved Texas A&M yesterday.
Mistake there by Jeter, and it turns into a point for Texas A&M. That's the thing about both of these teams. They do not allow you to live with mistakes. They punish. There, Texas A&M took advantage.
Yeah, we talked about how Arizona State kind of sleptwalked through the first 25 points yesterday against New Hampshire. You can't do that against A&M. They're going to punish it.
Underwood back there to serve. Ung in center. It's Cromartie working down line. That's out of play, and Texas A&M has come to play here in Tempe. The 6th seed out to a 3-point advantage as we've reached our opening timeout in set number 1. A lot of volleyball to be played here from Tempe. Large bid, as we said, and certainly for Texas A&M, the momentum around this program just continuing to build and build under that man in the middle right there, Jamie Morrison.
Yeah, and he's talked to us a lot about it, just the ability with the transfer portal to quickly rebuild your team. He said in the past this is a job that would have taken 4 or 5 years to build up the stock from high school. Instead, 6 transfers in the rotation for Texas A&M, all of them playing key roles. 11 of their 12 most important players are juniors. As good as they are this year, expect them to be even better next season. Of course, they don't want to wait. They want to win, and another shot at a Wisconsin team that swept them earlier this season.
These 2 coaches know each other well, as we said. In fact, so much so that J.J. Van Niel actually introduced Jamie Morrison to his wife, Kim.
Amazing. They met both working for Team USA.
Cromartie with a big-time swing, and Arizona State badly needed a point out of that timeout. They're able to snap that 3-0 scoring run for Texas A&M.
And it's one of the fascinating psychological elements of this matchup. Both coaches kind of expressed distaste at the idea of facing each other. They said, obviously, you want to win. You want to get to the Sweet 16. You don't want to knock out your friend.
I think if you were to ask them right now, they'd say differently. It doesn't matter who you're taking on. Both these guys very intense at the helm. That was a nice play by Perkins.
It's distaste for losing right now. That is the main point, but really nice effort that time by Morgan Perkins, the Oklahoma transfer who mentioned led the SEC in hitting efficiency at .409 this season. Got up and put it down.
Between these 2 coaches, to close the note on this, it's civil but not friendly right now. That was placed perfectly. Taylor Humphrey going back to the shed. And how about Texas A&M? This first set so important for them, especially in a road contest. And they look the part as ASU will call the timeout.
Yeah, sloppy start for Arizona State, but you know what? You got to credit Texas A&M. They've been clinical, and Jamie Morrison while certainly not saying anything negative about the Big 12, he emphasized how the SEC prepares you, right? Saying every game feels like an NCAA tournament game. You have to have respect for everyone. You get challenged on a night-to-night basis in a way, maybe aside from the Big Ten, you don't in any other conference, as we take a look at just how many SEC teams made an impact and reached the big dance.
Yeah, Texas, of course, just joining this past year along with Oklahoma. That only made the conference that much more difficult. Texas, of course, the defending national champions. But, yeah, while there wasn't a number 1 or a number 2 seed in this tournament, there was just a really deep balance in the conference this year, and it was almost more like cannibalism in terms of this conference so far. We already mentioned how Texas, Florida, Missouri, and Kentucky are all left in the tournament field at this point. But certainly night in and night out in the SEC. And you could say the same thing about the Big 12. It was a very tough conference, especially at the top. Yes, a lot of the Big 12 competition has been eliminated to this point in the NCAA tournament, but it doesn't take away from really what both of these teams were able to do in the regular season.
No, absolutely not. Arizona State, I mean, played a gauntlet in their own right. And look at non-con. They went out and scheduled Nebraska because they wanted kind of the ultimate gauge. You look at a program that's dominated the sport over the last 20 years of how good are we. And you got kind of similar responses from both coaches, J.J. Van Niel losing to Nebraska and Jamie Morrison in Texas A&M losing to Wisconsin. They said, hey, we found out we're really good. We found out we're not good enough consistently enough yet, and it's just having the grit, the skill, the tenacity, and just the sheer ability to hold up against those top teams in the nation. You win today, you get to find out if you've gotten to that point.
And it is a bit ironic. Texas A&M has already played Wisconsin this year. Arizona State, as you said, has played Nebraska, and those could be potentially the next 2 matchups for either one of these teams who will advance on to the Sweet 16. So it will be Jillian Neal coming into the match now to serve in there for Cromartie. Neal, a sophomore from San Diego, who is 5th in the Big 12 in aces per set this year. See why, solid serve there. Walk able to set it up, tapped over that time by Humphrey. Now it's Schroll, played off to the far side for Roberto Rebello, and it's denied, and a point for Arizona State as it went out of play.
Yeah, we mentioned Roberto Rebello, team high 11 kills yesterday. I think a New Hampshire team that almost had ADHD saying, all right, we got to defend her, we got to defend her, we got to defend her, and Rebello kind of snuck through, had herself a really dominant game looking to build off it.
What could be her final match is a Sun double today. Service error that time on Neal.
Yeah, Neal, great mental toughness, so good as a serving specialist, bouncing back from those service errors. But now Arizona State in a little bit of trouble. We always talk about who's going to be the first to 20. Texas A&M on the right track right now.
Elise Stinson, who started her career at Northwestern in the uber difficult Big Ten. Boom, plays off. Jelly Sear with a big-time hammer to pull the Devils back to within 2.
Yeah, you think she's healthy now. Missed a couple of matches late in the season. Arizona State very cautious, making sure she'd be at 100% for this time of the year. And she was talking about that preparation for Lednicki. This was the matchup they thought they were going to get. Jelly Sear's ready for it.
It's 2 straight service errors for Arizona State. Meanwhile, you can't afford to do that in this spot of the set. So A&M's able to jolt back out in front by 3, and they'll send Tatum Thomas, who's looked really solid, not only yesterday, which we already touched on, but also so far in this match so far.
These two teams essentially dead even in terms of hitting percentage. The service error is the difference right now. 2 more for Arizona State.
Boom, off to Rebello, who plays back line. The Devils were looking for a potential tip. It was not. And there you go, Gavin. That crucial, at least mentally it seems, 20th point is reached by Texas A&M, and another timeout is taken on the floor as J.J. Van Niel takes his second.
Yeah, I think he knows that 20-point mark is significant. I don't know if he's taking his timeout in part to look at a potential challenge there. I wasn't quite sure on replay if that wasn't touched. Rebello certainly thought it was, but as of now, J.J. Van Niel not challenging. But yeah, this is a crucial point for Arizona State. I don't think we mentioned it yet. On an 18-match winning streak, 30-2, right on track for the best season in school history. If they win tonight, it will tie their most wins in a single season in school history, and yet it all goes away, right, if you give up 3 sets. So every little point matters. Arizona State trying to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned that program record, 31 wins. That came way back in 1982. It's already the most wins they've had this century, of course. You take a look at those all-time wins, and back in 82, well, they're playing some more games as well. 16 losses in that year. This year for ASU, of course, only 2 defeats. One to Baylor in what was kind of a fluky matchup early on in conference play in the first conference road trip for Arizona State. And then, of course, as we mentioned, they took on Nebraska on the road, a true road environment. You called it that litmus test for Arizona State. They dropped that one in non-con.
Yeah, and that's what Arizona State was trying to do. They wanted to schedule as competitively as possible. And Texas A&M, similar, playing 9 NCAA tournament teams this year. Arizona State, though, held up when they were tested, right? 5-2 against ranked teams. Texas A&M on the season, just 2 wins against ranked teams, Auburn and Texas. But it's been the Aggies so far, 20-16 here in set 1.
You would say for Arizona State, probably their most impressive win so far this year at home against Kansas, who at the time was leading the Big 12. For A&M, no doubt, their 5-set win at Texas, that snapped Texas's 82-game home winning streak. And you know, anytime Texas A&M beats Texas in any sport, it's sweet for the Aggies. How about a block party that time, as that was Maddie Walk climbing the ladder.
Yeah, and Fena Casapala, who we haven't gotten to mention much yet, led the nation in blocks per set last season. She was involved too.
Yeah, Casapala, phenomenal middle blocker at 6'2" from Flower Mound at Texas.
The numbers are down a little bit, because that's because everyone knows about her, right? The secret's out. She's not a sophomore anymore.
Big time swing, and it's been Jelly Sear to lead the way so far for Arizona State. Yet another 3-0 run for A&M is snapped. But Arizona State's going to have to really turn up the heat here, and it will start here on this service as Bryn Covell, one of those former Texas A&M Aggies, will be back to serve. Covell, who fell in love with the game of volleyball when her older sister played middle school volleyball, was watching closely, went to every single match that year, watching her older sister, and said, I want to pursue this heavily. How about Casapala right on cue, attacking Covell, and it's Texas A&M's lead up to 5, the largest they've had it here in the first set.
Yeah, still a dominant defender, led the SEC in blocks, but her offense is what has made such a substantial leap this year. 2.14 kills per set, one of 2 in the SEC with 140 blocks and 200 kills.
Southpaw serve kept alive. Sear will tap, denied, and it's Texas A&M yet again. A finger wag that time for Lednicki, and it's all Aggies here in the first set as they've distanced themselves with just 2 points away from taking it.
Yeah, I've been a little bit surprised. The energy from the Sun Devils a little bit down, obviously struggling right now. A&M looks very locked in.
Their serve for Maddie Walk. And it's a denial again. Casapala and Lednicki. I believe they'll give credit to Lednicki on that block. And a set point now for the Aggies of Texas A&M as their fans who made the trip from College Station rise to their feet. Walk yet again. Tips off the top of the net that time. On the slide, Colheed able to get the job done and keep this first set alive.
Yeah, look, if you're the Sun Devils, you're going to that as often as possible. They've tried it 5 times. It's worked 4 times so far for Savannah Colheed on that connection with the Big 12 Setter of the Year, Argentina Ung.
It's Jelly Sear. First team all Big 12 to try to keep this first set alive for Arizona State. Walk. Lednicki was denied. There's 2 in a row for ASU. Argentina Ung, who was the center of the year in this Big 12 conference, steps up and comes up with a block right there.
And look, if you're Arizona State, even if you don't pull this off, you are kind of doing intel gathering, right? You're learning stuff that might work heading into set 2.
We expect this one to go deep tonight. Walk. Casapala wins it for Texas A&M. And the Aggies flex their muscles in the first set. 25-19, the 6th seed out of College Station make a statement on the road at Desert Financial Arena. We're through 1 in Tempe. So far, so good for the Aggies of Texas A&M. Back with a second when we return.
We'll head over there. If not, could be at Wisconsin if Miami is able to pull off that upset. As of now, Nebraska up 1-0. A lot of work to do for J.J. Van Niel and the Sun Devils. Way out hit in that first set, which is not a position. Arizona State is typically in 19th in the country, led the Big 12 in hitting percentage, but give credit to that Texas A&M block. And again, it's not always a Fena Casapala doing it directly, but her presence alters everything an offense does. You see teams going to great lengths to keep it away from her. I don't think it's any coincidence where the Sun Devils had their most success was Savannah Colheed on the slide, hitting to that second level where Casapala was not. Basically everything Arizona State tried to do in front of the net was shut down. A very quiet start for Claire Jeter in particular as she finished that first set with just 1 kill.
Keep in mind, Texas A&M looked great in their first set against Colorado State yesterday, and then they really had to battle through sets 2, 3, and 4. Can they keep the pedal to the metal against the number 3 seed Arizona State tonight? Sun Devils badly need this second set. Of course, you never want to fall behind 2-0, and that would be just the second time all year that would happen to Arizona State. The only other time when they took on Nebraska. Jelly Sear to serve as we're underway here in set number 2, and right away it's an early point yet again. That was Humphrey on that far side. Rather, Helmuth, I should say.
Texas A&M just dominating the most valuable real estate in the sport right in front of the net, and it's their size. Helmuth at 6'3", Casapala at 6'2", and of course Lednicki at 6'3", overwhelming Arizona State so far.
It was obvious that size advantage was going to be there for the Aggies. I mean, all you had to do was look at the roster. That was out of play. And it will be a service error for Texas A&M, their second so far. But going back to the size, obviously, yeah, it was something that you could see. It was an obvious thing, just looking at these two sides. The question was, how was ASU going to be able to combat that? So far, they really haven't had an answer. Big swing by Lednicki, out of play, and 2 straight points handed to Arizona State.
Yeah, and both times good eyes by the Sun Devils. They look very borderline to me. Jelly Sear, a little more experienced. She scouted it right out.
So it's Mary Schroll, who was born and raised here in Tempe, Arizona. We documented her story last night. That was out of play, so service error right back. Ties this thing up at 2. But Schroll, who J.J. Van Niel described as a celebrity now in this community, going to Corona del Sol High School, spent some time at LMU in Los Angeles before transferring back for her final year of college volleyball. She takes pictures with little girls coming to the matches and certainly has enjoyed her final season as a collegiate volleyball player. Lednicki with a big-time swing. Sear able to handle off to Ung, and now Cromartie attacks that back line. That's in play. Shania Cromartie, pinpoint precision, and ASU back on top by a point.
Yeah, really clean effort by Cromartie, coming off a 9-kill effort against New Hampshire. I want to take a look at what Arizona State continues to do in service as we take a look at the athleticism of Shania Cromartie and the ball placement once again. Sun Devils with 4 service errors. That is atypical for the best serving team in the Big 12.
Fluttering serve, and it leads to another kill ultimately for Lednicki, 7th so far.
Yeah, Logan Lednicki, I mean, what a start for her. We said close to a career high at 23 the other day. If this one goes 5 right now, she's on track for, excuse me, not a career high, season high.
She's had a decorated career. Another notch in that yesterday with those 23 kills. That's met at the net, out of play. Arizona State able to respond. A little bit more life just in the early going from Arizona State on their attack here in the second set.
Yeah, they seem to be a little tense in that first set. I don't know if I phrased it right, but that's kind of what I was getting at talking to J.J. Van Niel this week. Last year, they embraced that backs against the wall mentality, insane environment at BYU, and they come in, punch the Cougars in the mouth, and sweep them. This time, they're the favorites. They're the big dog. That's a little bit of a different type of pressure.
Yeah, but J.J. Van Niel said, I'm pretty good at creating that kind of a narrative, even if I am 30-2 on the season.
Yeah, I
narrative
appreciate that.
Collected here. The Sun Devils out to a 2-point advantage.
And look, when you are, as J.J. Van Niel's 23-1 at home in your career, 14-0 this year, you're not making any excuses, right? You worked all year to get this game here in Tempe.
Lednicki's back in there and goes right back to the well for another kill. Such a powerful left arm for Lednicki. And she continues to rack up the kills.
I think the scary thing for Arizona State right now, they've been in position, they just haven't been able to handle it. Maybe that's getting there a step earlier. I'm sure J.J. Van Niel has adjustments, but it's hard to adjust to perhaps just the best player on the court.
Sometimes the talent is just too much. You're talking about someone to the capability of Lednicki, rather. There's another service error on the Aggies. That's their 3rd. Arizona State off to a better start here in this second set in what is a crucial second set for the 3rd-seeded Sun Devils. There's an ace from Jeter yet again. That has been her bread and butter so far this weekend. The 2nd ace of this one for Jeter and the 8th overall this weekend.
I was going to say, Braden, 14 on the year, 8 in less than 5 sets now. Are you kidding me? Well, what is Claire Jeter drinking, and can I find some?
Less than 24 hours. That's a big-time swing for Helmuth. Yeah. So as great as Lednicki has been so far, Emily Helmuth has been really right there, a half step behind, if you will. 4 kills now for her.
And she just tends to play her best at the biggest moments. 12 10-plus kill outings this season, 11 of them coming in SEC play.
And Thomas back to serve for Texas A&M. Jelly Sear attacking Thomas and getting the job done. It's the best we've seen Jelly Sear look since she missed some time due to injury as that regular season came down to the very end of things. Sear with a little extra hop in her step so far tonight.
Yeah, has had some struggles defensively when dealing with Lednicki. Offensively, she's been a dynamo in the early going.
3-point advantage is Rebello, the Brazilian, to serve for Arizona State. Underwood plays to center. Helmuth able to handle and coming up with another point. Emily Helmuth starting to step into the spotlight here in the second.
Yeah, that was her 5th kill already. Not necessarily super efficient so far, just hitting a little bit over 100, but has had some big moments.
Walk to serve for Texas A&M. Tapped over that time for Colhe. Helmuth. Rebello keeps it alive for Arizona State. Sear will just tap. Haven't been very many long extended rallies so far in this match. This is the first one. Ung off to Rebello, who goes back line, just out of play. And the Aggies pull back to within 1.
Yeah, Texas A&M got a free ball that time, and you know that's going to Logan Lednicki. She uncorked one. Mary Schroll, Big 12 libero of the year, able to handle it. Rebello, though, couldn't quite keep it in.
A dream start so far for Texas A&M, although a service error has really been the difficult stretch so far for Texas A&M. Now matched with Arizona State for 4, but it's really bitten them here in the second.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 coming in this second set, and Arizona State's taking advantage. If I'm Texas A&M, you're down by 2, I'm feeling really good right now. I feel like they've outplayed the Sun Devils, hitting them by nearly 100 percentage points, 275 to 167. They have been the far more efficient offense so far.
So a challenge on the floor. We're going to have our first look to see. It's a chill vibe on the Arizona State sideline. Why be stressed out if they aren't? Why not, right? And let's have another look here. Attacking that back line. And unless that was tipped, it doesn't look like it was all that close.
So maybe a good challenge for Jamie Morrison. You could almost see Arizona State a little surprised they got that, but let's see if it's touched. Might have slightly changed its trajectory. Helmuth possibly got a finger on it. I think Helmuth touched it.
She might have. She's wearing that tape on her pointer finger.
Yes, you see the ball change trajectory. I'm pretty sure Helmuth touched it. We'll see if the officials agree.
This is why we love Gavin Shaw, folks. He's not only our analyst, but he's also our rules analyst as well. It will remain Arizona State's point, and the bench for the Devils will hop back up. They are so much fun to watch. If you've watched Arizona State all year long, it's almost worth the price of admission alone just to watch how much fun they have over on their bench.
I think in the best way possible, Claire Jeter is like utterly unbothered by the stakes. She for 2 days in a row has been on vacation. She's been having a blast.
To a certain extent, you love to see that. Really, both these sides, you work so hard through the summer, into the fall, through non-conference, into conference play, for moments like this, for a stage like this. And both these teams certainly deserving of being here now. It's a shame one of these 2 teams' season will end tonight.
See her hitting it to the net that time. And J.J. Van Deel does not mind aggressive service. That's the one thing he wants to avoid.
Schroll a little bit off mark, but Ung was able to battle at the net to keep that point alive. Kazapala, Schroll now high up into the air for Cromartie. Nice job by Schroll again to keep it alive. Ung gets it back over for Arizona State. An extended rally here for Lednicki, who attacks down line. What a play that time for Logan Lednicki.
I think those extended rallies are going to tend to favor Texas A&M. The longer you go, the more distorted your defense gets if you're Arizona State. If Lednicki can find the ball on a clean set, it's just almost impossible to stop her if you're not pre-positioned to do so.
Helmuth back to serve for Texas A&M as we're tied up yet again. Cromartie, that was a hammer to get the Devils to double digits.
Yeah, the more you watch, the more you think Shania Cromartie is maybe, if not the best player on the floor for the Sun Devils, certainly a focal point. Again, she's kind of that one option that can consistently match the power Texas A&M is bringing to the table.
2.5 kills per set so far this year for Cromartie. She's got 4. That was Jeter in center, and that was as simple as it gets.
Yeah, Claire Jeter, another one along with Shania Cromartie. Very quiet start for her. Back in on the rotation. Top 10 in America in hitting percentage, hitting .430. We mentioned it, one of her best games of the season a night ago, and now finding some rhythm in set 2.
2 straight points for Arizona State. Humphrey able to work that in play. Immediately Arizona State looking like they may challenge this, and right away they will. Looked like J.J. Van Niel
now they're saying no.
Threw up the green card, and he will challenge it. Well, Arizona State was shaking their hands, I think, as if to say, we didn't touch that.
Gotcha. That makes more sense to me. I thought they were saying, no, JJ, no.
that was my interpretation.
No, I think you nailed it.
J.J. Van Niel will challenge this.
Was successful yesterday.
Maybe not. I thought he was going to, and it looks like after all is said and done, he will rescind it. So maybe your read there was correct, Gavin.
We'll ask post-game what waving your hands frantically means.
We didn't get that in our chat with
yeah,
J.J. Van Niel. He didn't define that one. Cromartie getting everything into that one for another kill. That's now 5 for Shania Cromartie.
Yeah, she's been the best Sun Devil so far, hitting .444. Savannah Colheed right there at .333. Claire Jeter at .667. No one else in Arizona State is hitting over 100. 4 different players are hitting 0 so far for Arizona.
They're looking much better here in the second set as a team, hitting at .385 so far in set number 2. Lednicki, she's been there all night long, over .350 in terms of her hit percentage, and she's now into double figures with 10 kills.
Yeah, I mean, she has just come out on a mission. There was some inconsistency early on yesterday against Colorado State. None today. She has been a superstar through and through.
Are you finding new ways to describe what she's able to do?
It's hard.
It is hard. Jeter just taps over a pancake. No, could not quite keep that alive. Good effort that time by Margot Manning, but it wasn't to be. Lednicki back in there for Texas A&M, and now Jillian Neal checks in for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, her defense, Lednicki's much improved this season. Saw her have a couple nice digs yesterday.
Yeah, she can now really do it all. And as we documented yesterday, has goals of playing in the Olympics for the national team. Certainly looks like a player that could be on that level. Morgan Perkins, as they like to work it through that middle. They did that in times in that first set. They work it back to Perkins for the first time here in set number 2, and it's successful. Yeah,
you expected her to be a bigger piece. Again, a relatively quiet evening against Colorado State. Last time out, had that 1 big kill, but only finished with 5 on the match. I kind of figured Jamie Morrison was going to get her more involved. It's been the case so far.
Sun Devils by 1. Again, it's Sear. Underwood able to dig that out that time very nicely. Helmuth on the other end. Robello. Kept alive. Lednicki off to Helmuth. Denial. And it's Robello and Jeter there for the maroon and gold.
Roberta Robello, great positioning. She is just a fantastic athlete out there. Led them with 5 blocks against Colorado. Can certainly pick up her defense. Does so there.
Claire Jeter, who's been the ace specialist. I laugh because you wouldn't have thought that coming in. Handled that time for Texas A&M. Nice set and an opportunity now for Arizona State. Sear, handled by Lednicki. Nice job for the star of the show. Cromartie, agile to keep it alive. Then Robello plays off to Underwood. Near side Helmuth with a tap. Kept alive by Sear. Bodies flying everywhere on this extended rally. They played a center. Sear yet again. Ung off to Sear. Another big swing. Underwood can't keep it alive. And this time the marathon of a point goes to Arizona State. And it takes us to a timeout on the floor.
Persistence personified. Look at all the areas Arizona State's dominant. I always say this to put into context. There are 346 Division I teams. The Sun Devils top 20 in assist percent, kills percent, hit percentage. In aces, they are up there as well. And Shania Cromartie's been super consistent, particularly in the second set, hitting .444. I think her athleticism really shining through against one of the more physically intimidating teams the Sun Devils have seen all season.
One more time, Gavin, how many Division I teams play volleyball?
346.
It's
so
unbelievable.
I think that is important for context. Yeah.
Yes.
Just how dominant Arizona State's been this year.
Jeter back on the service line out of the timeout. Met at the net again. This time it's Colheed who's fired up.
It is only worth a point on the scoreboard. Psychologically, it's worth a little bit more. Texas A&M in set one over and over again, winning those battles at the net. Akpala about as physical as it gets, and Colheed that time standing up to her.
A 3-0 run for Arizona State, able to respond out of that media timeout as well. Jeter back on the service line yet again for ASU. Helmet with the big swing. Jeter couldn't quite handle it, and the Aggies do get a much-needed point right back.
Yeah, Helmet, some swagger, just waving goodbye on that one. You just love her game. The more you watch her, the more you realize, I mean, she might be the third most important player on this Aggies team. She brought the heat yesterday, doing it again today.
Morgan Perkins for A&M, and how about another service error? That's now 4 for Texas A&M in his second set.
Yeah, and look, that's a big part of why they separated in set one. They played cleaner, and they were the more physically dominant team. In set two, Arizona State, you could argue, has both those titles.
Bello back there for J.J. Van Niel's squad. These coaches in their second year, and boy, have they started off their tenures with a bang. Arizona State with a chance here. Boom will play off of the slide. Tapped by Colheed, but a nice job laying out for it was Underwood. Cromartie, fleet of foot yet again. Sear will tap out of play. Jelly Sear picks up her 6th kill. She now leads ASU in that department.
Yeah, I heard her pregame, and this is not a joke. She did say this. She said, "We got to bring the boom." Quoting the wizard philosophers over at the Costco guys, she's brought the boom so far today.
I don't know what else I could say back to that. There you go. Bringing the boom. Jelly Sear and the Sun Devils on top by 5. Certainly Arizona State has had a memorable day in terms of their athletic department as a whole. I don't know if we talked about the football game yet, but Arizona State trying to channel their inner Cam Scattaboo here in set number 2. Over 200 yards in their Big 12 championship win.
You want to talk about the human embodiment of boom. It's Cam Scattaboo.
Correct.
Right, every single. He should add the M to the end of his name just to make it even clearer.
Arizona State winners of the Big 12 in football, but also in volleyball, and that was a marquee conference title, as any of them are, but it was the first Big 12 title in school history.
Yeah.
Considering what J.J. Van Niel's squad did. And I know we talked about this last night, Gavin, but it goes to show J.J. Van Niel and how serious he is and how hyper-focused he is on what's next. He was telling us in our chat earlier this week, I didn't even really hold the championship trophy, and when I did, I kind of just pass it off, like shoot it off to someone else. My assistants were getting mad at me is what he said, and certainly you understand that though, because he is just always thinking, what's next? And there's a reason why he's 58-9 in his career here in Tempe so far. He's won Coach of the Year in the Pac-12 last year, in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, he's been incredible. And I asked him, what would you say your biggest improvement is as a coach? And he said learning not to micromanage his staff. He wants to win so badly, and that's typical to want to control everything in your first year. This year, taking the time to grab coffee with players off the court and saying, hey, let's talk about anything but volleyball. It's made this team even closer. The culture which he emphasized to such a high extent, even better.
Yeah, he doesn't want this ride to end with his special senior group. It's touched over by Kazapala. Pancake to keep it alive by Schroll. Oong on the attack. Nice job by the Aggies to rally. Underwood laid off Colheed. Big time swing. Again, it's Oong at the net. Kazapala plays back up straight into the air. It's lobbed off to a diving Ravello. Oong off to Sear. Helmuth keeps it alive. Great effort on both sides for this much important point. Sear yet again, working down line. It's dug out nicely by Stinson. Helmuth attacks far side. It's out of play, and a point for ASU.
Some points are worth more than a point. That is a culture point for Arizona State. It could have been a culture point for Texas A&M. The effort was outstanding, but look at Mary Schroll.
Wow.
Big 12 Libero of the Year, not afraid to lay her body on the line. And Arizona State, off the hitting error from Texas A&M, wins the point, now just one away from that precious 20-point mark.
It's another 3-0 burst for the Sun Devils. They've been in control for a while. Helmuth sent it back, but it was out of play. And a much-needed rally killer for Texas A&M.
Yeah, look, if Helmuth had gotten, or excuse me, if A&M had gotten that last point, I would have pointed out Helmuth saved the day with that high set by A&M time to get back in system. This time hustling, clean hit. A&M an opportunity to build some momentum back.
Walk for Texas A&M. Boom with a dump. Kept alive by Underwood. She was able to read that play, but it doesn't matter ultimately. Attack error that time for the Aggies, and it's Arizona State that reaches 20.
Yeah, Maddie Walk putting in right into the net, and A&M has not played as clean. That has not allowed them to show off that vicious left arm of Logan Lednicki as much as they want.
And it's Jelly Sear, who leads the Sun Devils so far tonight with 6 kills. Big time hammer, and that was positioned perfectly yet again by Hellman.
That was maybe the set of the day so far for Maddie Walk, and we have yet to really talk about her. 5th in the SEC in assists this year, top 40 in the nation. I think this is the best pass. Just watch this. Look at this back set. No look. Could that be any better? Put it on a platter, and Hellman said, I'll serve it to the Sun Devils.
Back to a 5-point margin. They work right to center to Sear. It's handled right at net and sent right back down the elevator shaft. It was Colheed that time. Clean it up.
That was picture-perfect, aggressive defense by Savannah Colheed, not waiting for the ball to come to her side of the net, reaching up and over. Just watch her tracking the ball the whole way, not giving A&M a chance, and just tipping it straight down.
Lednicki had been quiet in the last little bit, and that's a big reason why ASU has been able to get out to this lead. But finally, she gets back in the action.
It's very similar to what we were saying with Texas A&M against Colorado State. When they stay in system, when everything's clean, they look like one of the best offenses in the country, right? That is hard to stop. Arizona State out of position. Lednicki saw it immediately.
And they stay in system. It's going to struggle here in set number 2. Cromartie is denied. And it's Lednicki with 2 straight.
Yeah, Lednicki not just offense, right? Nearly a block per set. Her and Casapala that time working together. You see Cromartie has been so effective against that duo. Casapala gets up, Lednicki gets up. That is one of the more fearsome, solid roofs in college volleyball.
Libero Ava Underwood back there for Texas A&M. Bell to Oom. He's the center of the year. Used to be an outside hitter when he started her college career. Cromartie. Here come the Aggies, Lednicki, and again, it is Logan Lednicki right on cue, has responded with 3 straight for Texas A&M.
Yeah, we got a great, shout out to our camera crew, a great zoom in on Logan Lednicki, and you saw her, she looked like a prize fighter, just kind of gauging her prey before that point. She is hitting another level, has Texas A&M right back in it here in set 2.
Yeah, the response for the Aggies after they trailed 21-15, it's been Lednicki who's gotten back in the action. How about her night so far? 3 blocks, 12 kills, of course, and hitting over 400 so far.
I mean, just ridiculous efficiency from Logan Lednicki. And again, if there is an area where I'd be worried if I was J.J. Van Niel and confident if I'm Jamie Morrison, when they give Logan Lednicki a clean set, there has not been a whole lot Arizona State's been able to do with it. That hitting mark would be dominant against this Sun Devil defense that's only allowed opponents to hit 155 on the season. Again, Logan Lednicki up over 400 right now.
It goes to show just how dangerous Lednicki can be. Is the offensive statistics for Texas A&M. Yeah, they're still very solid, all of which top 50 in the country. But so far tonight, they have looked much better than those numbers even suggest, and those numbers are still impressive.
Yeah, it's an area Texas A&M has just gotten better and better over the course of the year. They had that 4-match losing streak, and Jamie Morrison said, hey, I think we're doing a lot of good. We're just not doing enough of that good so far. The core of this team is a dominant pass-serve game, and they felt like their passing technique was a little inconsistent, would mess them up, and their service was inconsistent. Now generally placing the ball where they want it to be, and it's taken Logan Lednicki and players like Emily Helmet to just another level.
So a very solid timeout taken there for J.J. Van Niel, trying to really slow down the momentum for Texas A&M. So the Devils trying to take this second set and knot this thing up at a set apiece. Jeter was blocked. Stroll laid out for it, but it's now 4 in a row for the Aggies.
Yeah, all the momentum on Texas A&M side, and you can, I mean, it's obvious going up 2-0. It's a big deal, but the way the Sun Devils built this lead, Arizona State's resilient, but that would borderline be a death knell for the ASU if Texas A&M is able to come back.
Especially since, remember, Arizona State led this set 21-15. It's now 4 in a row for Texas A&M. Underwood with a lobbing serve. Ung in center. Cromartie elevates, and that stops that 4-0 run.
Yeah, very similar. It's hard to come back against Texas A&M. It's so hard to come back against Arizona State over and over again this year. They have built leads, and they have held on to leads. because of the diversity of their offense. Someone's going to get hot. Someone's going to find a kill.
That was impressive, working around Perkins as well as Lednicki. Here she is yet again. Lednicki somehow got it by Schroll. Easier said than done, but they just keep going back to the well, and why not?
Yeah, you saw Mary Schroll looking at her right arm after that play, almost like it let her down, saying, you're supposed to stop that. But Logan Lednicki, not like everyone else, she's built different, and Mary Schroll couldn't quite handle it that time.
I think any golfer knows that same look. You hit a bad shot with your 7-iron. Ung in center. Big time swing and a monster kill for Rabello.
There's a reason we highlighted Roberta Rabello right at her best. Just such a key piece for Arizona State has been peaking at the end of this season, stepping up big to get the Sun Devils on the brink of set point.
It's Jillian Neal. A little rocky back there tonight for ASU, but a phenomenal season with jobs just like this. That's a good looking serve that time for Neal. They played a center. Nice high set, and it's killed yet again for Rabello.
And that's a testament to the work she's been doing, right? You could have gone straight to Jeter there. You could have put a back set to Jelly Sear. Instead, you go to Roberta Rabello. She's just been that good of late and has Arizona State a point away from tying this thing up at a set apiece.
Timeout Texas A&M, and as you just said, Gavin, this is now set point for Arizona State. Both these programs, both these coaches, hyper competitive, and you just got the feeling tonight, and I know we were talking about this off air, this is going to be a deep one tonight in terms of the amount of sets. And after Texas A&M took that first set 25-19 and really looked like the class of this competition, give Arizona State a lot of credit. With the exception of that 4-0 run for A&M, they've controlled this second set.
Yeah, it's the resiliency of this Sun Devil team. And you talk to both coaches, you ask about their strength. They both say grit, they both say the ability to bounce back. As we take another look at the coaching resume of J.J. Van Niel, you said it, Big 12 Coach of the Year, Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Not really much more you could do in 2 years as a Division I head coach. The 23-1 at home obviously stands out. Arizona State has had some of the best attendance in the nation, an incredible environment tonight, and the Sun Devils trying to do right by their fans who showed up for them game in and game out.
I mean, those numbers are laughable, how good they are. And remember, this is in the Pac-12 last year, a great conference, and the Big 12 also had a very solid season this year as well.
And I think it's important context for people who don't follow Arizona State. This is a program that was, no pun intended, lost in the desert for a decade, right? They had struggled for years and years and years and years, and J.J. Van Niel comes in. Again, the transfer portal helps, but no build-up.
J.J. Van Niel, to stick with your analogy there, he was the oasis this program needed.
Yeah, call him Moses, leading them out.
Set point for Arizona State. And they attack to keep this set alive. Nice job by Humphrey.
Yeah, really well done. Humphrey's been quiet so far. She was very good early against Colorado State. The junior has had 10 kills 4 different times this season. And you go back to her time at Rutgers, I mean, she was one of the better outsides in the Big Ten, 498 kills in 2 years with the Scarlet Knights.
Texas A&M not dying yet. Arizona State just 1 point away from knotting this thing up and a set aside. It's Humphrey. By Schroll off to Ung, and now Rabello goes down line. It's out of play. 2 in a row for Texas A&M. The Aggies aren't done yet here in the second.
It is a testament to Texas A&M. They are so tough to finish off. You go back to that set 3 against Colorado State. 4 different set points for the Rams. They couldn't do it.
Humphrey yet again on that back line. That's out of play, and finally Arizona State's able to take the set 25-22, and we're all knotted up at 1 aside through 2 in Tempe. It's a matchup of a couple of powerhouses in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Arizona State on their home floor. They've responded in a big-time way. They fell behind 1-0, but the Devils responded in a big way in set number 2. We've got a good one in store from Tempe. Back with more after this on ESPN Plus as Arizona State trying to advance to the Sweet 16 for the 2nd straight season. And if you're Texas A&M, Little bit of momentum they found down the stretch, able to come back and make it close. 25-22 ASU taking that second set, but it was Texas A&M really kind of grabbing back some of that momentum, even though they weren't able to quite come back all the way.
Yeah, they put a scare into Arizona State. They said that would have been, as much as it's damaging to just be down 2-0 and have to win 3 in a row, just psychologically devastating to the Sun Devils. Arizona State flashing some grit, holding their own. Again, I think what this could come down to, I still don't know if Arizona State has any kind of response to what Logan Lednicki's doing outside of keeping A&M out of system and never letting her get the ball. Service errors will certainly help their cause.
Right. And the question is, for Arizona State, will it matter? Lednicki, she's going to get hers. Can the Sun Devils survive even with that?
And again, the better your offense is, the less opportunities she has.
Service error, as you noted, that's now 7 on Texas A&M in this match so far. Azapala, high set, denial right back. That was a nice job by Ung along with Colheed. Colheed this time on the slide yet again. Kept alive nicely by Stinson. Kazapala was in the area. Instead, they'll work it to just a tap over for Lednicki. From Marty will go back to work. High, right at the net, and it will be Arizona State's point. That was a tough play that time, trying to kind of read where that ball was going to drop. Ava Underwood couldn't quite hang with it, and it's the Sun Devils out in front by 2.
We talk about Shadia Cromartie, right? So some really impactful kills, not the most efficient player this season. She's been hyper efficient tonight, another one there.
Stepping up into the moment for Arizona State. And a tough match. There's a service error given right back, so each side with an early service error in set number 3.
Second time Jelly Sear has hit the ball into the net, and I'll say it again, J.J. Van Heel wants to always be aggressive in service, right? He says we don't talk about service errors unless it hits the net. That's the one no-no if you're an Arizona State player, so something Jelly Sear's going to have to figure out.
Helmuth, double-digit kills last night for the Aggies. Lednicki was denied that time. They'll go right back to Lednicki, who works far side over the top of Schroll. And you can see Mary Schroll that time. She just said, wow, right over the top of her head. And another kill for Lednicki.
Yeah, 6'3", that leaping ability, Olympic aspirations. I would not bet against her. Jamie Morrison said it's his goal to get Lednicki to that international stage.
Keep an eye on Lednicki potentially in Los Angeles in 4 years' time. Back-to-back points for Texas A&M as Cromartie goes into the front row to try to keep that alive, but could not.
That was dangerous, nearly. It was incredible hand-eye to avoid making contact with the fan by Shania Cromartie. Unfortunately for her, no one for Arizona State in the vicinity.
So 3 in a row for Texas A&M to jolt out in front here in set number 3. Troll to Ung. And on the slide, Colheed was denied. And it's Taylor Humphrey.
I was going to say, of course, it's Taylor Humphrey. She is the embodiment of Jamie Morrison's adjustment. Something is working for the other team. Cue in Taylor Humphrey and watch her snuff it out. She did it yesterday against Emery Herman, doing it now against that impressive slide attack that was working so well in set 1 for Savannah Colheed.
With a serve yet again for A&M. Cromartie denied, kept alive momentarily, but not enough. And it's a 5-0 burst now for the Aggies, coming out of the gates with a whole charge right now.
It feels like that defense is so locked in for Texas A&M. It's Casapala, it's Humphrey. It is a team-wide effort right now for the Aggies.
Everything clicking for Texas A&M. Sear will try to respond for Arizona State. It's Cromartie ultimately getting the job done. Worked right at Casapala.
Yeah, I'm going to say pretty easily Arizona State's most consistent offensive player through 3 sets. It feels like she's been the one kind of steady part in what's been sort of an up and down match so far for the Sun Devils.
Schroll back there for J.J. Van Niel's bunch. Walk to Casapala, and right after she was disappointed with herself defensively, she bounces back immediately.
Casapala, again, I think we've under-discussed her. The blocking, but also Jamie Morrison saying she's one of the heaviest arms he's ever coached. She gets it done in both ways.
She'll take a seat after that most recent kill. Casapala so far in this one with 3 kills, hitting at 222. They play right down the center, and it's much like Casapala. Been a while since we've talked about Claire Jeter.
Yeah, a little roll shot for Jeter that time. Again, she has $1 million arm, but she has that in her repertoire, right? Take a little off it, put a little spin on it, just roll it into the empty space. Finesse game for Jeter.
Shifted that around, and they're actually going to give the point to Texas A&M. And now an ace will make it 8-3. So it's an attack error on Jeter. And now the Aggies with a whole lot of momentum and a timeout on the floor for Arizona State. That was a worst case scenario for the Sun Devils. And now they're facing a deep hole in the early going. A&M out in front by 5 in the third.
Taylor Humphrey getting involved. Of course, you see Underwood and Stinson digging the ball out. Just a really clean second set. And of course, defense leads to offense, and that's where you have Logan Lednicki to shine.
I chuckle when you say innovative blocking system. We both brought that up in our chat with Jamie Morrison because it stuck out to both of us, and he kind of just shook his head and rolled his eyes and said, I don't really know what that's supposed to mean either. But regardless, very good defensively so far, especially in this third set. For the Aggies, Lednicki going back to work yet again. Kill number 15.
We have to note A&M SID Sam Thornton, who does an excellent job, swears that Jamie Morrison described it that way at some point. So who to believe, I don't know. The point is it works really well.
It's been awesome getting to know all of these SIDs in this regional. And what make us sound so smart. At least as we attempt to. There's a nice
relatively smart.
Argentina Ung. Such a fun story. Argentina Ung, we talked about her last night from Sonora, Mexico. You may be wondering how she got her name, Argentina. Well, it's a very fun story. The year she was due to be born, there was a World Cup. Argentina was the favorite. Her father loves soccer, said, I'm naming my daughter Argentina. Argentina did not even win the World Cup that year.
She's been relatively quiet so far, but picking up a nice point there, A&M able to retaliate.
6-point advantage for Texas A&M. Marco Manning for the Aggies. That's a good looking serve. Jeter will go straight down.
Arizona State has been a little inconsistent in their ability to set up Claire Jeter. Jeter, when she's gotten chances, has been excellent so far. In this match, she's hitting 250, was above 600 in the early going. They've kind of been few and far between, but Claire Jeter, one of the 10 most efficient hitters in America. Arizona State would be served well to serve her.
Attack Underwood off the service line. Lednicki, this time the Devils were able to handle it, but it doesn't matter. Right at the net, it was Perkins for Texas A&M.
You always hear coaches talk about ball control, but even more than that, the quality of the ball control. And that's an area that's fluctuated for Arizona State so far. They've gotten touches, they've gotten digs, they have not gotten clean touch, and that's a testament to A&M's hitting so far.
Ellie Stinson for the Aggies. This is a nice set there to keep it alive, but a little bit off mark to Sear. Now the Sun Devils having a scramble. Sear, nice job to be flexible to stay alive with that ball. Cromartie over the top. Texas A&M was calling that the Sun Devils hit it 4 times, but they're going to get the point anyways. It doesn't matter regardless, as Texas A&M rolling here so far in the third.
Yeah, it's been, I'm kind of shocked. It has been dominant for Texas A&M so far. Power in the front, power in the back, and ASU has just not made the Aggies feel them in this third set.
And Stinson yet again. All Texas A&M so far. Jeter was denied by Stinson on that back line. The defense swarming for Texas A&M. Troll able to keep that alive. Cromartie will just have to tap over. Walk. Far side swing, and another kill for Helmet. And everything going the way of the Aggies.
It just feels like the ball is coming so much faster from the left side of the court, left to right, than it is right to left. A&M consistently quality touches, quality passing, and there's never any question about the finishing. Watch this here from Helmet. Picture perfect set. Hit it at its apex. The Arizona State block didn't have a chance.
Arizona State needed that point in the worst of ways, and they get it off the serve into the net by Stinson. So it breaks up another long scoring run for Texas A&M. But frankly, the Sun Devils back up against the ropes right now.
You go back to J.J. Van Niel taking that early timeout. It doesn't want to burn another one. Needs his veteran squad to get through this storm.
So far, it hasn't mattered as it's Helmet yet again. She's now in a double-figure kills. That's number 11 for Helmet, just 2 digs away from a double-double as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's just been great. Again, not the most efficient, but has really picked it up here in set 3.
Who would have thought this third set would be such a wide margin at this point? Long way to go, of course, but it's been all Aggies so far. Sear able to attack that back line and get it by Thomas.
Yeah, that's a tone changer because Arizona State, they've scored. They haven't gotten really quality hits like that. Jelly Sear, that sends a message that Arizona State is up for matching the physicality of the Aggies.
Roberta Robello back there for ASU. Stinson able to handle, walk, plays off, and it's Ken Helmuth for Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of switch flipped in Emily Helmuth. Again, she was hitting below 200 before the start of the set, and it feels like she's something like 4 or 6, 5 of 6, and approaching Logan Lednicki. No one on Arizona State in double digits, while those two have combined for 28 kills combined so far.
Those two matched Arizona State so far in terms of kills, 28 to 28,
That's
and now
insane.
it's a 10 or a 9-point lead, I should say, for the Aggies.
And just on the match as a whole, the hitting gap is now massive. Texas A&M hitting 325, Arizona State hitting just 171. That is an indicator, despite the sets being even, A&M has been clearly the better squad so far.
There's no question about that. Arizona State starting to let this third set slip away. Lednicki keeps the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, and I know J.J. Van Niel has so much faith in his squad. I was about to say, I'm taking that timeout here. Arizona State, forget about the lack of defense. Just from a mentality standpoint, they don't have that energy that you typically see.
The Aggies on top by 10, and this building is as quiet as could be right now. Overwhelming support for Arizona State, as you'd expect, although there were some Aggies that made the trip out. Certainly, Texas A&M has been the aggressor really all night long, Gavin, and I think the stats point to that, to your point that you were saying earlier. Texas A&M has outplayed Arizona State so far tonight.
Yeah, and it hasn't been particularly close. The Sun Devils, a really great stretch in set 2 where it felt like they kind of found themselves, and then you noted this, kind of a shaky ending where they held on, they did just enough, but it didn't really inspire confidence they were going to come out in this third set and dominate. And Texas A&M, give credit to Jamie Morrison. You got to imagine the discourse in that huddle between sets was like, hey, I know it's 1-1. I know we didn't pull that out. We have them where we want them. We're the better team right now. And Arizona State, I'm just a little shocked by the lack of energy defensively, and maybe that's just a realization that, hey, we're not really able to deal with Logan Lednicki and their power right now. But you look at the Aggies and the schedule they played this season, this is what gives you a lot of faith. They could go far, losing to Wisconsin, losing to Kentucky. Outside of that, recording a win, I'm doing some quick math here, against the other 8 NCAA tournament teams, or the other 9 NCAA tournament teams they played.
Yeah, I mean, that is a loaded resume for Texas A&M. Part of the reason why some people were surprised to see them as a number 6 seed, and yeah, sure, you finished 5th in the SEC, but the talent on this roster, and certainly what we've seen here tonight, they don't look like a typical 6 seed.
No, and I think it's, J.J. Van Niel would protest this because we can tell he's kind of preemptively neutering this narrative. But the SEC, those 6 teams remaining, I'm not sure if Kansas is in or out, but the Big 12, only 1 or 2 at this point.
Roll with a high set that time. That was a thing of beauty, and Sear's able to capitalize. Wow, that was gorgeous and set up nicely for Sear.
Mary Schroll, always very kind of composed on the court, not super evocative, but she looked right at Shelly Sear and said, come on after that. They need to feel that energy if they're going to come back.
A couple of seniors trying to light a fire underneath the Sun Devil team here in the third set. Kazapala works back line, and there's 2 in a row for Arizona State out of the timeout. But a long way to go to try to really put a scare into Texas A&M here in the third.
And I assume Jamie Morrison emphasized this. If we don't beat ourselves, we're going to win this third set.
Sear remains back there for ASU, and it's part of that killer instinct. If you're Texas A&M, you don't want to give Arizona State momentum, much like the Sun Devils did for the Aggies in the second. Back line, out of play. 3 in a row for the Sun Devils, and they're back to within 7.
And it's such a hard line to walk, right? Because you don't want to lose that aggressiveness. You don't want to lose that force that got you here. Some of it is just variance. If you keep hitting hard, it's going to work out. But you also don't want to be too aggressive, and you don't want to give ASU some momentum.
Stretch this run to 4. Walk. Played off near side. Helmuth able to respond, and you said it, Gavin. Something flipped and Emily Helmuth. She has stepped up to the plate in a big way. 13 kills now for number 4.
I think it starts with the Aggies defense over and over again. The setting to her has been really clean, and that's because, again, they continue to get quality touches. Arizona State not really challenging A&M with their serve. No aces, not a lot of points or near points off of serves in this third set.
Back line out of play. So another service error. Really, if you were to pinpoint one thing Texas A&M has struggled with in this third set, but really all night long, it would be on the service line. 9 service errors compared to just 2 aces.
Yeah, and Arizona State, no service aces in this third set.
And they'll give one right back. A rare mistake for Schroll, who's normally rock solid in that role. And that's just kind of a synopsis of how this third set has gone. And it is dead silent in this building. Arizona State was so happy to play here at home. We've said it a couple of times on this broadcast already. 23-1 here at home over the last 2 years. They need this crowd to get going, but they need to give them something to cheer about first off. And there's a mistake, uncharacteristic. That was Bailey Miller who's in there for the Sun Devils. And now Texas A&M is just 5 points away.
Yeah, and that's J.J. Danielle searching a little bit, right? He's saying, my starters aren't getting it done. I'm going to go to my bench. Had a season-high 9 kills against Houston. Has had some great moments, but that time maybe just not quite ready.
Tough to call on Miller, who had not appeared in this tournament so far, to come in this kind of a moment. Walk. Lednicki. Nice job by Miller to get fingertips on that to keep it alive, and then Jeter will end up with the kill.
Yeah, and I mean, Claire Jeter can kind of be the force that keeps Arizona State up in tough situations, right? She's still smiling, she's still celebrating, she hasn't lost her confidence in any sense.
It's Argentina Ung back there for Arizona State. Walk. They go back to Lednicki. They've worked their offense a lot through Helmuth here in the third. Lednicki now getting back involved as it's Sear on the back line, out of play. And more so than anything for Arizona State, you get the sense, Gavin, they need to just try to find some momentum a little bit. You might not win this third set, but you got to get something going in terms of your confidence levels.
Yeah, because it's gone right now. I mean, the vibes are, you said the vibes are always high in Tempe. They're as low as I've seen them on this volleyball team.
That was more of a generality, I
suppose.
Sure,
okay, gotcha.
Over on Mill Avenue, maybe.
Right, yeah.
It's Sear up to Ung, and it's tapped over by Rebello. A much-needed point again for Arizona State, but right now they're chasing points. They need a big run, frankly, to get back in this third set.
Yeah, out of the last 10, they're up 6-4. That's good. Probably not good enough to win set 3.
Mathematically, no, it would not be.
Right, yeah, of course. You're right. I was a journalism major, so I didn't really do that.
I'm not going to act like I'm smart in math either. Bailey Miller serves for the Sun Devils. Walk, gives off another big swing, that time by Taylor Humphrey. Tapped over, and a nice job by Sear. Jelly Sear, but it will be a violation and a point for Texas A&M.
Yeah, carry that time.
Yep.
For Jelly Sear, and we were talking about it during the break. I think going back to the 8th point of this set, that was called on Claire Jeter. So a couple of times that's been an issue. And if you go to both of those, it's a 2-point swing. You reverse them, it'd be 20-15. Arizona State would be relatively in it. Instead, a carry. J.J. Van Niel, I think he was thinking about challenging, ultimately not going to.
And you mentioned it, those 2 calls where it looked like it was going to be points for ASU, one a net violation and one a carry. Proving to be costly in terms of at least making the Aggies sweat. Sear that time put everything into that swing. Shot by the Aggies again defensively. It's Rebello now, kept alive in front by Walk. Lednicki just has to tap back over. Ung will play off Jeter. Back and forth we go here for a crucial point. Lednicki kept alive on the knee, and a big swing and a kill for Helmuth.
Again, it's set up by A&M's defense. You see Walk digging out ball after ball. Casapala at 6-2 going down. I mean, let's take a look. They get the initial block, and then it's Lednicki actually was the one who came up from that back line. Your star player putting her body on the line, getting low, and then Emily Helmuth able to pay it off.
Just 2 points away from a 2-1 lead in this match. Another whistle, and it will be a point for Arizona State. And it will be Arizona State to serve here. So it's Claire Jeter back there for the Sun Devils. Quite the journey here as a Devil. A Texas A&M transfer 4 years ago. Nearly picked up yet another ace. Robello at the center. Sear will tap over. Just a little bit off offensively for Arizona State, and the Aggies will get another point right there.
Yeah, they haven't looked like themselves, but you know what? At a certain point, you don't really put that on ASU, and you start giving credit to Texas A&M and how they've distorted Arizona State, and I think, frankly, intimidated them a little bit with how aggressive they've been at the net.
Yet again, a set point for Texas A&M. It's Thomas. Ung. And the Devils stay alive at least for a moment longer as Colheed, they need her to step up in the fourth set. She gets things going there.
Yeah, I mean, such a great start to the day for Colheed. Hasn't been as involved since, but that was a really nice kill.
Roberto Robello. Handled by Helmuth, off to walk. Lednicki goes down line. It's in play, and the Aggies take set number 3. A dominant performance as they blitz the Sun Devils and run away and high 25-15. It's do or die time as we head off to the fourth. But the Aggies of Texas A&M, they aren't playing like a 6th seed tonight. And it's their star, Lednicki, sealing the third. It certainly has, and just looking at the stats, I know we talked about this after the second set, Gavin, but really, it has been a wide disparity in almost every single important metric so far. Texas A&M, just take a look at that hit percentage more so than anything. They are absolutely balling out so far tonight.
Yeah, I want to go back to an individual number. Maddie Walk has 41 assists through 3 sets. I got to imagine that is close to a career high. I got to imagine that is one of the better marks for anyone in 3 sets in the nation on the season. But team stats-wise, you look at the hit percentage, 319 for A&M, 163 for ASU. You hate to say it's that simple, but that's the story of this one so far.
So far, certainly has been the case. And for Arizona State, it's been a magical season, a 30-2 record, 1 win shy of what would be a program-matching single-season win mark. And they rally behind 2-1. Fourth set underway here from Tempe. Jeter will tap. Nice job by Lednicki to go down to the ground to keep it alive. Helmuth was there as well, but ultimately it's Jeter for ASU. They need to start fast here in the fourth.
To your point, I want to see the heart of Arizona State in this set. That is all that J.J. Van Niel has preached to us. We've gotten the opportunity, being in this area, to cover him a lot this year. He talked about the culture he's built, the leadership of this team. Let's see it right now if you're Arizona State.
Nicky with some finesse there. We've seen the thunder that time. A little bit feather-like touch for Lednicki.
Again, added that roll shot to her repertoire. And when you have a left arm like Logan Lednicki, you become so dangerous when you add the finesse. It puts defenses in such a bind.
She is just so solid. Top 15 all-time in kills at Texas A&M. She'll go down. History of this program, certainly, with what she's been able to do and how far Texas A&M might be able to ride her through this tournament. Another point for A&M, and they've been able to jolt out in front really the last 2 sets, Gavin, again here in the fourth.
Yeah, Lednicki came into this one after last night, 4th in school history in single season kills. Only going to move up that chart the way she's playing.
Wipe something off the floor here before we get back to play. If you're Arizona State here, I know you said you want to see the heart, but in terms of actual strategy, how do you try to rally? Because it seems like they've just kind of been off balance. And again, we give a lot of credit to Texas A&M for that, but how do you find your footing?
It's ball control. You control the ball, you control the game. They are benefited at times. The reason they won a set is from some Texas A&M errors. They continue to have good eyes. If they want to actually win in 5, they have to control the ball. I want to see Argentina Ung collect it off of a clean bit of defense and then set up this cascade of heavy hitters for the Sun Devils.
Remember, we said this early on, Arizona State has only been involved in 1 5-set thriller this year. They would love to get to a second. They must if they are to survive and advance. Sun Devils there riding Robello with a nice play. It's Jillian Neal back there for J.J. Van Niel. service error. Those costly mistakes, you just can't have them at this point if you're ASU.
She hasn't had a good game in terms of service, and JJ Van Niel has just a lot of faith in her. He said, you know, some other teams, you'd have one or two like that, you sub them out, and he said, I trust her, I want to keep going to her.
You got to respect that. As we noted, Van Niel just loves this team, knows the roster so well, has learned to kind of step back at times, let the players lead some of the practices. That's out of play, and that was Sear yet again with a nice job to put the pressure on Lednicki. And it's ASU back in front by 1, but certainly, I know we've said this a couple of times already, he loves this unit, and you can tell when you hear him talk about it. Humphrey will tap. Ung now off to Jeter, and it's Sear. Finesse there for Jelly Sear. Lednicki attacks Cromartie, hits another kill, number 21 for Lednicki.
Yeah, I keep saying it, when the set is clean, Arizona State does not have an answer, and it feels like everyone's been a victim. She's gone at Jelly Sear, she's gone at Shania Cromartie, she's even gone at the Big 12 Libero of the Year in Mary Schroll, and she's had success against all of them so far.
It's been a stunning performance, I should say, as Manning goes straight into the net that time for another service error. The beginning of this fourth set has been played evenly, but even so, it must be said that Arizona State's points, much of them at least so far, have come off of service errors or just mistakes in general for Texas A&M. Aggies, meanwhile, are a well-oiled machine offensively. They play it to center for Perkins.
Yeah, how it's happened is everything, right? Texas A&M getting points off their force. Arizona State just kind of looking for A&M to overhit it, and that's been true, frankly, the entire day. The Sun Devils have to be better. I think it starts in service to get Texas A&M out of system and stop that from happening.
Telly Stinson with a heck of a serve that time. Cromartie had to go down to the ground to dig that out and keep it alive. Underwood plays to center. Again, it's Perkins attacking Sear this time. Cromartie blocked at net. High that time by Schroll. Sear again will put the hammer to it. It won't matter. A dump that time. Kept alive again by Schroll. Sear taps over. Bodies fly. Walk. Plays off Helmuth. Long rally here for a big point in the early fourth set, and it's Sear ultimately for ASU.
We said it in set 2, right? Those Jelly Sear kills just mean a little bit more. She's the swagger of this Arizona State team. When she's feeling it, when she's hitting it through a thicket of Aggies, it fires everyone up.
So the Devils back in front by 1. One thing we have not seen ASU really able to do, with the exception of the middle of that second set really, is put together an extended run. Can they piece one together here in the fourth? Try to get some breathing room. There's 2 in a row for ASU.
Savannah Colheed trying to get everyone fired up. I love that from Colheed and Jeter. Physically, obviously, the 2 biggest players on the court. Personality-wise, the 2 biggest players on the court for the Sun Devils. They're always providing that emotional bump.
It's again Sear for Arizona State. A little bit offline. Helmuth will get it back, and it's another block yet again. And guess who it is? It's Colheed. And now some momentum for the Sun Devils.
And again, just as important as the block is the big roar after, right? This has been an Arizona State performance so far. The body language has not been great. They got to find that fire, find that energy. Savannah Colheed bringing both right now.
That was excellent stuff for Colheed, the senior from the state of Texas. Play it off, Lednicki right back to it, and why not? When they need a point, you got to go to your star. It snaps that 3-0 run.
I wanted to say, I've talked a lot about Arizona State's energy. A&M's has been excellent, conversely, and I know that's been a tangible thing. They just look like such a confident team. Everything they're doing right now is clinical. You give Colorado State a lot of credit, because this is how A&M looked initially against them. The Rams got them out of system. ASU unable to do it consistently so far.
Cromartie attacking Lednicki that time. Helmuth will get it on this near side, dug out by Schroll, set to Ung, and Cromartie will tap. Kazapala right back to it yet again. Kazapala's been a little bit quiet by her standards. That's just her 4th kill, but it comes at an important time.
Yeah, and I want to point out again a virtuoso performance from Maddie Walk, the LSU transfer junior out of Katy, Texas. She has just been brilliant in how she set up the diversity of options for Texas A&M, getting everyone going.
Tatum Thomas able to get that in play. Rather out of play, I should say, and a point for Arizona State.
Maddie Walker has this excellent propensity to feed the middle. You saw it on that last play to Casapala.
So the 12th service errors so far for Texas A&M. It's Arizona State on top by 2, trying to force a decisive 5th set. The second round of the NCAA tournament. Helmuth, how about that for a swing? I mean, you can feel the wind whipping off the ball.
Just a ridiculous cut shot by Helmuth. That's the shot we saw Lednicki dominating with last time around. Lednicki not going in too much. Helmuth said, I'll take a page out of your book. And those two have been just as dominant of a duo as we've seen in our 3 games here at Tempe.
Let's walk on that service line. Cromartie will elevate. Texas A&M just so stout defensively. We've talked so much about their attack on the offensive side of things, but Helmuth and company have been great defensively as well. Cromartie this time. Helmuth able to keep it alive. Underwood with a high set to Helmuth. Met at the net by Ung and Jeter. Point still alive here for Texas A&M, and ultimately it results in a point. Lednicki, not quite her prettiest kill of the night, but it's another one. And that's now 23 for the star for the Aggies.
Maddie Walk again on the assist. How about this? A&M for the match, 51 assists. Maddie Walk has 48 of them.
Wow.
She has been the center, quite literally, for this Texas A&M squad.
Everything runs through number 16, and that's a great point, Gavin. She's back there to serve for Texas A&M this time. Ung. Underwood was trying to appeal that it was a pancake, but it will be a kill for Ung. Underwood really appealing for that, and quickly a challenge from Jamie Morrison. Underwood popped up fiery. She definitely thinks she got underneath that.
Yeah, Argentina Ung could use the point, just her second kill of the day, and what's been a quiet performance so far for the returning honorable mention All-American.
So they will be looking at this to see whether or not it'll be a point for Arizona State. Underwood has done a really good job as this match has worn on. Didn't quite start off as hot as the rest of her teammates, it must be said, but let's have another look here at this hustle play from Underwood. And I don't know if you get a good look at that there, Gavin, but definitely looks like she might have a case.
Yeah, it looks like, I think she got there. It's just so hard to tell if perhaps the side of that ball touched. She made contact with it. Some of her fingers were underneath that ball, but inevitably, Ronald Pelham, our first referee, has a better view.
And it will remain ASU's point, and that might have been a call stands, not confirmed situation. It would be really tough to overturn it.
Did not have an angle that said that 100% one way or another. It's a great point by you.
Argentina Ung will be back for ASU as the Sun Devils back in front by 1. Underwood will get right back to work. Casapala with a nasty kill that time. That was a monster swing. You said when we talked to Jamie Morrison, he had nothing but great things to say about Casapala, and as great as she is in terms of blocking, well, one of the heaviest arms he's ever coached. You can see why with swings like that.
Two-way superstar, 140 blocks, 200 kills, one of just 2 in the SEC to hit those 2 statistical benchmarks.
Was that in play? It was not. Good read that time by Schroll to let that go out of play, and Arizona State maintains that 1-point lead as both sides kind of just exchanging points here early on in the 4th set.
This is not what J.J. Vanille would want to hear going in. I think that's been the best part of Arizona State's night so far. They've consistently read extremely well if it's going to be in or out.
There's Bailey Miller back there for the Sun Devils. Nice dig by Miller to keep that play alive. Sear will swing and kill. Jelly Sear not hitting to her usual percentages, under 150 on the night, but she now has 11 kills.
Yeah, Bailey Miller at 6'3", not easy to get that low. It hurt. You could see her shaking off her hand, but Jelly Sear certainly appreciates it.
It's do or die time. You got to make every play possible. Humphrey again off to walk. She'll get it right back. Denied. Rebello was there, and a point again for Arizona State.
Sun Devils finding a little bit of a rhythm here. Feels like they've maybe just toned down the A&M attack 10%, 20%. That's all they need to stay in this.
Again, it's Miller, the junior from Quinlan, Texas. Some roster that has 4 Texans on it. Service error gets the Aggies back to within 2 and snaps a 3-0 run.
And it just feels like Texas A&M has a margin for error, right? They can survive a couple of those. Doesn't feel like ASU can survive too many balls into the net right now.
9 service errors on Arizona State compared to 13 for Texas A&M. Another pause briefly as they'll wipe off the floor. Everyone involved in this Tempe Regional, not including Arizona State, of course, has been really complimentary of their experience here in the Valley of the Sun. Of course, there are a few better places to be in the month of December than Arizona. We're still looking at weather in the 70s. It's a great getaway. This Arizona State Athletic Department's done a great job of hosting this regional, by all accounts. Bello able to tap that over, and now it's Lednicki. Sear works to that far side. Underwood was there, though, for Texas A&M. Lednicki back to the well, and how about Cromartie to keep that play alive? Sear goes back line to attack. Kept alive. Lednicki swings and gets it in play. Kill number 24 for Logan Lednicki as she now bests what she did last night.
Well, one of the defensive plays of the day by Shania Cromartie, and it doesn't even matter. Logan Lednicki is inevitable. Cross court, backspin on the ball, just ridiculous.
Sear goes straight down. That was very smart. A clinical move that time, reading the defense, and Sear was able to tap into play.
Yeah, not wanting to see her incredible college career end early. Jelly Sear has stepped up in set number 4 for Arizona State. It doesn't necessarily feel like it, but it doesn't need to. ASU's still up by 2.
And another stop now for a wet spot.
And you can tell Jamie Morrison wants to get a move on, right? He likes the momentum, he likes the rhythm his team has. Again, even if they're trailing, he kind of wants things to keep moving here in Tempe.
2-point advantage for Arizona State. Helmuth was able to handle. That was a good-looking serve, but again, it doesn't matter, and guess who it is? How many times can we say it? Lednicki yet again.
Just passed her mark from yesterday, 25 kills, or excuse me, passed by 2 her mark from yesterday. Logan Lednicki approaching a season high. It was 27 against Tennessee. If we stay on track, she's going to hit that and more.
Yeah, if Texas A&M is to win this, I think it's safe to say that will be her new season high. In center, it's Humphrey, and we're tied at 14.
And over and over again, you just see this Arizona State defense distorted. A team that all year long was consistently in the right position, has been consistently out of it, and that's a testament to A&M tilting the game their way with their power.
Margot Manning out of play. And ASU's the first of 15 here in the 4th set. They must win this set to keep their season alive. Backs against the wall for the Sun Devils here in Tempe, trying to survive this excellent Texas A&M squad. Back with more when we come back.
40 attempts. There have been timely kills, though. She carried them throughout that decisive 3rd set when they needed her. Logan Lednicki, maybe the best performance of her career so far. 25 kills, but the number I go to, she's hitting 512. Kills on more than half her attempts. I say over and over again, the Sun Devils don't have an answer. They really have not for Logan Lednicki.
I mean, that's an incredible total, along with 11 digs as well and 5 blocks. She's done it in every way tonight for Texas A&M. They'll play it back to her again. Laying out to keep that point alive that time was Schroll, and it will result in an Arizona State point. As great as she has been, as calm as Texas A&M has looked all night long, Arizona State finds themselves in front by 2. All they need to do is get it to a 5th, and then anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, they found ways to buy themselves time.
Fell to serve this time for Arizona State. Perkins in center. It was denied, but kept alive. Sear off to Ung, played back to Jelly Sear. Not quite what she wanted to do on that first attempt, and then on the second, she gets it in play off the deflection, I should say. A point for Arizona State, and now the Sun Devils have their largest lead of this 4th set.
And Arizona State has been on this run without Claire Jeter out there, their top offensive option. She's not really gotten going yet today. If she can come out and get hot, that could be what pushes ASU over the mark.
Good looking serve that time by Covell. Helmuth was able to keep it alive. Chance here for Arizona State. Dumped by handled by Underwood. Humphrey now will take a swing on it. Somehow they got it back across. Oh my goodness, Arizona State laying it on the line. Trying for a pancake, but it won't matter. That's a hard-fought point, and it goes the way of the Aggies.
Yeah, Arizona State, you can't question the spirit, you can't question the effort. Little fluky in how they got it over. And again, you'll see here the Sun Devils defense really distorted. Watch how many players are all in one spot around the net before Humphrey just taps this over, right? 4 and back, 2 to the right side. Just so much room for Humphrey to find some court.
That was huge for Texas A&M. It would have given Arizona State a 4-point advantage, and now it's right back to 2. Stinson able to serve here. Tapped over by Lednicki. Sear yet again for the Sun Devils. Can Arizona State force a 5th set? Helmuth, now Cromartie. Big time swing on the slide. Hustled by Underwood, but it doesn't matter. Yet again, it's Savannah Colheed.
Yeah, that's just great management by Faked the slide the first time, went to Sear, it didn't work, and said, you know what, let's go back to our bread and butter. Got it to Colheed, worked so well in set 1. You kind of thought Humphrey had a beat on it, but that time, Colheed got the better of her.
Isn't this fun? Arizona State, statistically speaking, they have been outplayed tonight. But yet here they are, up by 3, trying to force a 5th set. Underwood able to handle that serve. Helmuth yet again. She's been phenomenal. What more can be said about Emily Helmuth?
Timely points for the former West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year, Pepperdine transfer, came to Aggie land, major culture shift, and she still just hits lasers.
She's just 2 kills shy of what would be a season high. 19, she got that against Missouri. So a couple of Aggies having season high performances. How about that from Schroll, but it will go out of play, and the Aggies back to within 1. It's Helmuth yet again.
Yeah, Arizona State all hard. Schroll, you see it over and over and over again, laying her body on the line, trying to will her Sun Devils to a 5th set. A&M, though, just greater control. And they're on the brink of tying this one up.
They're relentless. Thomas now for A&M. Cromartie, big time swing, blocked at net, but not enough. And it again is Cromartie. She started off this night red hot for Arizona State. They need her to find that form again that she had in the first set.
Yeah, love that for Jania Cromartie. Again, she feels like she stepped up every set until this 4th. That was kind of her first big moment. Now Claire Jeter's back out there for Arizona State. Remember, she doesn't play back row. Takes a little while for her to rotate back in. We'll see if she can be the difference with Arizona State just 6 away from surviving to fight another set.
Roll. Now Helmuth, finally some resistance. That looked like it might have gone out of play. Helmuth was blocked away that time by Jeter.
Jeter right back out there, coming off a performance where she nearly had a season high with 8 blocks in just 3 sets. One of the best blocking performances of her career. She's bringing that defense back in. Arizona State, they needed some size, they needed some power. They call on number 23, that clutch gene. Claire Jeter rising up and playing some defense.
You said it best right there, rising up, and that's what Arizona State has done in this 4th set. You wouldn't be able to tell the predicament they're in with the smiles on the face in this huddle. That's kind of the mood of ASU's team all year long. But they're in a good spot here, the first to 20, 5 points away from forcing a 5th set.
Yeah, Claire Jeter, you look at her, they could be up, they could be down. There is always a smile, right? Jelly Sear, Mary Schroll, a little bit more stoic, a little more composed. Claire Jeter is a kid in the candy shop at all times, and that's what college sports is supposed to be about. This is supposed to be fun. I love that Claire Jeter, even in the tensest moments, embraces that.
It's a Sun Devil roster that is led by upperclassmen, 7 seniors that helped turn around the culture of this program in Tempe, has taken them to heights never seen before around this program's long history. And they're trying to close out in what will be their final home match ever by advancing to a 2nd consecutive Sweet 16.
I go back to what Jamie Morrison said, and really it's true of this entire pod of coaches, 3 second-year head coaches, 1 6th-year head coach. The reason you can turn around fast is because of the transfer portal. And J.J. Van Niel is there's a lot of humility in his description of it. He said, look, I can find talent. I can't find good people. When you're playing in the transfer portal, you have to offer first, get to know who you're bringing in later. He said, fortunately, it's worked out. They've all been incredible people, incredible players, and that combination, to your point, has taken Arizona State to new heights.
And they've got a good one back there to serve, and Mary Schroll out of the timeout. Texas A&M with one timeout remaining. ASU still has both. Here in set number 4. A little bit offline. Ung was able to send that back across for Arizona State. Helmuth was denied. A whistle, and the point will go to Texas A&M.
Yeah, seemingly a double touch there.
Yep.
And Arizona State, though, obviously you don't want to lose the point. I don't mind that. They're just providing so much more resistance in front of the net than we've seen for the bulk of the evening.
It's that desperation that Arizona State is feeling. Trying to stay alive. Walk. Ung, who used to be an outside hitter, has turned into a setter for Arizona State, but she's been there during this recent run of solid play for ASU in the 4th. Tapped over by Bailey Miller, kept alive now by Miller. Schroll, back to Miller yet again. Underwood handles for A&M in center. Kazapala, nice job by Ung to keep it alive. Miller yet again for the Sun Devils. Back and forth we go. Critical point, and it will go Arizona State's way. No, it will go A&M's way, pardon me.
Yeah, Texas A&M, awesome effort defensively. And we talk about the highs and lows for Arizona State. A&M very even keeled and did a nice job that time tracking.
The initial response by ASU's side, they were starting to celebrate. Then they saw the call come in. A timeout on the floor now for J.J. Van Niel and the Sun Devils. Back to a 1-point margin for Arizona State. If you're just joining us, Texas A&M took the first set 25-19. Here's a look at that last play. Seeing here how the Aggies were able to pull back to within 1. And yeah, that's a good call. As you can see, that left hand touched, and I believe that was Bailey Miller over there for ASU.
Yeah, can't make contact with that antenna, so a good eye by Ron Pelham, our lead official tonight. And A&M, I mean, they've taken every punch from Arizona State, and they trail by just 1. I think Jamie Morrison knows they have a golden opportunity, and he doesn't really want to tussle with Arizona State in a set 5. They're going to try to end this right now.
Yeah, if you're Texas A&M, you got to go for the kill shot right now, and that seems obvious, but you don't want to mess around. As much as you've outplayed Arizona State tonight, a 5th set on the road, senior-laden group for Arizona State, things can really start to get away from you quick. You've got to try to end it now if you're the Aggies, and they're in a position to do so.
And it starts again with your defense. Logan Lednicki really quiet over the last 10 to 12 points, and it's because Arizona State, the block has been better. They've kind of kept it around the net, and they haven't really let Texas A&M get into their system, get those clean sets that Lednicki has thrived off all evening from Maddie Walk.
Star of the night for A&M has been Lednicki with 26 kills, 1 shy of what would match her season high. Can Arizona State starve off elimination, or will Texas A&M move on to the Sweet 16? All the pressure mounting each and every point here in Tempe. Lednicki yet again. There is kill number 27. It matches her season high. A night to remember for number 9.
We keep saying it. When Walk can get a clean set to Lednicki, ASU has not found a response to that. And until they do, I'm not sure if anything else matters.
20 aside. A 3-0 run for Texas A&M. Walk to serve for the Aggies. They launch it up for Cromartie, who's denied. A block party, and it's Kazapala. Texas A&M leads.
Afena Kazapala, as a sophomore last year, led the nation in blocks per set. She set a Texas A&M record with 1.62%. When it matters most, the combination of her and Lednicki, as good as it gets.
Arizona State's got to dig deep, but they've now given up 5 in a row, and they're 3 points away from moving on. A timeout by J.J. Van Niel. The Aggies have all the momentum right now.
A&M absolutely rolling. Arizona State was just kind of scraping by, right? Digging balls up, getting points from a lot of different sources. Claire Jeter provided an injection of energy coming off the bench. Shania Cromartie found one. Jelly Sear had one a little earlier on. Argentina Ung was more involved. And yet, again, when A&M can play clean, when they can stay in system, it's all irrelevant. The offense of Lednicki, the defense of Casapala, two best players on the floor in those respective categories, and Arizona State has not found an answer yet.
I'll tell you this, Gavin. Texas A&M's Jamie Morrison, in his second year at the helm, took a timeout when his team was down 20-17. From that point on, 5 straight points, and Arizona State again looked a bit off balance. They had found a rhythm here in this fourth set, but after that timeout, the Aggies were able to refine their footing, and now just 3 points away.
I've referenced this number a couple of times. Arizona State, first in the Big 12, 58th in the country in aces per set. That's not a tell-all statistic, but it's indicative of how good they can be when they serve well. They have not served great today. A lot of that is on A&M's defense. I think they're going to need to serve well over these ensuing 3 to 8 points to stick around as we look at that combination again. 46 kills for Helmuth and Lednicki, and it's Lednicki still hitting 500 for the day, just a ridiculous number. Both of them playing some defense too, a combined 24 digs. Two-way effort has been the story of the day for Texas A&M.
You want your best players to shine in the biggest of moments, and maybe the best ever match for Logan Lednicki here tonight on the road against the 3-seed Arizona State Sun Devils. Can they wrap it up in 4? Walk serves it off. Schroll off to Ung in center. Jeter will tap with the left, still alive near the net. They launch it up into the air. Lednicki that time will just have to play it back across, rather casually. A dump attempt that time by Ung. Big time swing, handled that time nicely by Covell. Cromartie swings with the right. Long rally for this point. Helmuth gets it for Texas A&M. It's a 6-0 run for the Aggies, and they're starting to smell it in College Station.
Brilliantly done by Texas A&M. Again, defense leads to offense. Clean collection, get it to Walk, and let her distribute. Helmuth taking advantage.
This is stunning, this run for Texas A&M. Ooh, Jeter got it, and finally Arizona State's able to get back on the scoreboard.
You're struggling, where do you go? How about a top 10 hitter in America? Claire Jeter, 430 on the season, has been inconsistent today. Since coming back in halfway through set 4, she has been the difference to keep Arizona State in it.
Every point of critical importance right now. To center for Walk on that far side, a swing out of play. And the Devils back to within 1. They're not done yet.
Yeah, that's just a great decision by Arizona State, or maybe the decision was out of their hands, but avoiding touching that one. Little too much heat on it. I think Helmuth was looking to find a hand. She couldn't. You're right, Arizona State 2 points away from making this really interesting.
Once again, Argentina Ung, one of those 7 seniors for ASU. Casapala, and it's match point for the Aggies.
Casapala just off a really nice set from Walk and able to put it down. We talked about that heavy arm. Wasn't super involved offensively the other evening. Tonight she stepped up.
20 kills on the night for Emily Helmuth. Now she's back there to try to end it. She has 10 aces on the season. Everything on the line. It's an ace on cue. And for the first time in 5 years, Texas A&M, they're going to the Sweet 16.
What a dominant performance for Texas A&M after struggling with Colorado State, arguably getting outplayed by the Rams. They take on the 30-2 Sun Devils on the road, a team that's been unbeaten in this building this year, and they dominate the match. Arizona State put up a great fight in set 4, but just too much power, too much skill, too much defense across the board for the Aggies.
A couple of career nights, and that's exactly what you need. Logan Lednicki with 27 kills, matching a season high, an unbelievable 500 hit percentage, and Emily Helmuth, who comes up with the game-clinching ace with 20 kills, a new season high for her as well. The best players for the Aggies stepped up in the biggest of moments.